Another reason as to why I strongly believe President William Samoei Ruto is likely not to make it to the 2027 general election is because power without friendship is isolation, and currently President William Samoei Ruto is a man in power but who is utterly alone. Looking at the people to whom they are surrounding him, I strongly believe no one of them is genuinely confident with him as they used to be. There is no any inner circle that currently believes in him. His entire political orbit that is currently surrounding him, I kid you not, it is extensively transactional. Even when I look at people like Farouk Kibet, the supposed right hand man to President William Samoei Ruto since time immemorial, is currently seemingly out to exercise power, even if it means letting President Ruto's ban. The only person to whom I strongly believe and see him to still believe in President William Samoei Ruto is none other than Honorable Oscar Sudi. But again, if we are just to be honest with ourselves, we must accept the cognizant fact that Oscar Sudi's intellectual horsepower wouldn't light a torch in a blackout. However, with that at hand, then I kid you not, it must be also to the president's attention that he's completely lost the 2027 battle right even before it has already begun. So question remains, will President William Samoei Ruto ship in before the 2027 general election, or he will decide to ship out just to avoid embarrassment before he faces millions of angered Kenyans at the ballot? However, another reason why I strongly believe However, another reason as to why I strongly believe that even President William Samoei Ruto's closer people have completely lost ground and legitimacy for him is when I look at his propaganda machine is currently seemingly on a life support machine, because gone are the days of well-oiled digital campaigns. Today, President William Samoei Ruto's online defenders have turned out to be very few. They seem completely fatigued and kind of flopping, because we are aware influencers who once generated buzz are currently struggling to pull millions of likes in their posts just to legitimize President William Samoei Ruto's legitimacy. Their numbers are not just low, but they are actively dwindling as days go by. And when I look at his main propaganda machine, like Dennis Itumbi, the crown prince of his digital spin, I kid you not, he can't post a post in regards to President William Samoei Ruto without him being torn apart by angry replies from Kenyans. And as they say, when your own echo turns hostile, then most probably your days in power are numbered. Should I even go ahead and speak of the crowds that have been recently attending President William Samoei Ruto's rallies, of which these crowds, millions of Kenyans are alive that they are usually crowds mostly mobilized through M-Pesa? Because to attract an audience in this Kenya, President William Samoei Ruto must fully accept to part ways with serious amounts of money. And that is not just to gather people, but to exit the venue safely afterwards. This at hand will and has always become increasingly expensive and unsustainable as far as President William Samoei Ruto's gatherings are concerned, and it is likely to become more expensive as we head to the 2027 general election. And with this at hand, I kid you not, maybe the president may decide that no way, it is time for him to hang the boots before the 2027 general election, because at this rate he might as well have to liquidate his entire artificial wealth just to fund his artificial cheers for a campaign destined for doom. And we know President William Samoei Ruto's character. He is a man who is likely not to accept defeat, but I kid you not, when push comes to shove, then he is likely to hang the boots. And another reason as to why I strongly believe he may not make it to the 2027 general election is because he lost the Gen Z war and badly attempting to co-opt the Gen Z through a few compromised bigwigs like Kina Kasmel and Morara. Because currently anyone and absolutely anyone associated with him immediately becomes irrelevant and despised. If you've been keen with the Gen Z movement, the movement is completely decentralized, and it has always been very dynamic and digitally dominant, and President William Samoei Ruto simply cannot buy or silence everyone because the movement had no leaders, and that is to mean that the power vested in the whole movement were completely decentralized, and even if you buy one single individual, it is likely not to help you. However, another reason as to why I strongly believe President William Samoei Ruto may not make it to the 2027 general election is because his UDA party is currently a leaking ship, and all the crews that go to parliament and himself currently want to bolt out of this sinking ship. Just have a look at the people like Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Masika Wetangula, and others, if I am just to mention but a few. None of those people who are happy to be in UDA or were happy to associate themselves with UDA currently as of the time of this broadcast, none of these individuals want to be associated with the president's party. And that is why recently we did see Musalia Mudavadi launching a party, but through proxy, because it must also have come to his realization that UDA is dead and dead forever. And if anyone with future political ambitions would want to propel politically, then they must first deassociate themselves from the president's party. President William Samoei Ruto won't just be politically finished before the 2027 general election, but from where I sit, I strongly believe he will be physically fleeing from that flat state house that he recently renovated as he packs his things to depart for his journey to Sugoi. And that is why I've always believed the president still has the latitude to revolutionize everything as early as today. I'd wish that he will just take one agenda and streamline it and deliver 100% of it, and by so doing he is likely to win the trust deficit he's currently lost to Kenyans. But him launching and continue promising projects after projects after projects, while we know they are non-existent, I kid you not, his journey to Sugoi seems unstoppable. And before even I come to the penultimate part of this episode, I'll just wish, what is your take in regards to the president's wish, and if he is likely to get to the 2027 general election? And as I come to the penultimate part of this episode, that has just been my opinion. If by any chance you do have a contrary opinion to mine, you can as well just feel free to drop them in the comment section, and I'll give them a right of reply. And by any chance, if you've been watching my videos and you have not subscribed, you can as well just consider hitting on the subscribe button. Thank you, and may God bless you.